Hey everyone, let me know when you're getting tuned in. Let me double check on my page to make sure I'm up and running. It looks like I am. Should be alerting everyone now. So just let me know when you're in here. Comment with your name. Give me a hashtag live if you're watching this live. Give me a hashtag replay if you're watching this on replay. Hashtag GLTV fan if you've been following along with this whole series. And a hashtag new if you're new. If I haven't made a connection with you before, I'd love you to share that with me so that I can reach out and we can connect. So this is going to be a series where I dive into lucid living. And what I mean by that is that if you're someone who wants to lead your life with purpose, if you're on a mission to make a difference in this world, meaning in your work, in your business, in your personal life, if you're all about serving people, if something feels like a calling for you, and whether you want to do this thing that makes you money along the way, but ultimately this is a way that you want to live your life where you're running at your highest potential, where you're spreading that joy, energy, creating those conscious connections, deep friendships, transpersonal bonds, then this is going to be a series that you really enjoy. So for those of you who haven't tuned in before, every episode I'm going to go into a strategy for how to implement lucid living into your life. And I often touch on lucid dreaming as well, just because it's so interweaved into my life, into what I do. I can see more and more people are tuning in now, so please comment below, give me a wave, say hi, let me know who's here, where you're tuning in from. I always love hearing that. And as more and more people get on, I just want to share a little story with you guys. So for those of you who don't follow me, I turned 28 this month, which was really exciting. I'm actually a July 4 baby, but birthdays are such a weird thing, aren't they? Because it kind of gives us that chance to reflect on everything that's happened in the past year. This year, I actually spent time with my other half reflecting on the past 10 birthdays from my life. So from 18 all the way up to 28, which was just wild. And I know that people often have a mix of different emotions surrounding birthdays. I was talking to my good friend Jules about this recently. So I'd love for you to share with me in the comments now, what emotion is it that birthdays make you feel? Because for some people, it's like this incredible, happy, exciting time. And for others, birthdays are like full of anxiety and fear and resentment and all these bad emotions. So what was interesting for me was that this birthday was the first birthday that I was totally sober. 100% sober. And I think it's the first one that I can even remember that I was sober, right? So for any of you who follow me more in depth, you might have seen my recent post where I shared about just hitting 6 months alcohol sobriety. And I just felt really tuned in, really aware of everything going on. Whereas some of my birthdays in the past have just consisted of me drinking as much as possible or doing drugs, getting fucked up, right? Which seems to be this kind of strange tradition for actually celebrating our lives. So I think if I could change anything about my birthdays, I'd really just ask myself to be present. I think that would be my present to me, just being present in that moment. And that is not what the training is about today, but I thought I would just share that as people are getting logged in. Birthdays are something that we all obviously experience. And it's really interesting to look at how our minds change as we evolve ourselves. So let me see if I can get the comments up. All right. Today, what I want to talk about is incorporating lucid living into what we do. So let me know in the comments who you are, what you do, or who you help. What kind of business do you run, right? Or what kind of business do you want to be in? Okay, and answering some of these things in the comments is really important because I'm going to be going through and replying to all of you after this. And I'm also going to be sharing something really exciting, but it's also really exclusive at the end of this session. And depending on what you answer, it's going to tie into that or perhaps put you in a better position for it. So again, those questions are, let me know, what do you do? Who do you help? Or what kind of business do you run, or what kind of business do you want to be in? All right. So as you're sharing that with me, I'm going to talk a bit more about what I mean by incorporating lucid living into what you do. So in other words, this is a bit more delving into having influence with what you do, being passionate about what you do, and creating lasting change with what you do. So many of you probably have goals set in connection to either what you do or what you're doing now. Maybe some of those goals feel really far away. But bear in mind what I just said when I spoke about birthdays, right? And reflections and recognizing how much change can happen in just a year. How much change happens in half a year. How much change can happen even in a day of your life, okay? So what I want to do today is share some of the do's and some of the don'ts when striving to live lucidly, to live with purpose, to make a difference in this world. These are just some of the things that I've noticed help me get towards my goal of living lucidly, living with purpose, living with passion, and contributing from what I do back into this world. So grab yourself a notebook, open up a Word document, get whatever you want to take some of these things down so that this isn't something that you're just tuning into for the next 30 minutes, but something that you can actually spend time working with in your life. So do number one is, do get lucid on who you are going to help and why. So a lot of people who I work with really struggle a lot with feeling comfortable in what they do for work or what they do for business. But when we dive deeper into this together, oftentimes I find that this is because they just don't know what their zone of genius is. It's really difficult to make a difference by doing something too generic, okay? People fall into the generic trap because they don't want to miss out on anything. But what actually happens when you do this is when you're trying to reach too many people, or you're trying to help so many different people or in so many different ways, that you actually reach and help no one. Okay, so you'll notice that all the incredible businesses and entrepreneurs who really make a difference, who really change lives, they have this very niche market of who they're going to help, how, and why. They brand this in a way that it's like a snapshot in one of their ads, one of their images. You know from watching that exactly what type of person they can help and exactly who they're trying to reach. So to feel really lucid about who you're going to help or how you're actually going to make a difference, you have to be really clear to yourself on who is it and why. And a great matchup is usually connected to you, to your zone of genius, right? People resonate with you as an individual. People resonate with your personal story. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a story that got them to where they are today. And this is why there's so many therapists or people who have been, severely depressed, and doctors who work in the cancer field because they know someone who's been through cancer, right? There's usually a lot of connections in your life, in your personal journey, to who you want to help, why, and what your zone of genius is. So get really lucid on who you are, what is it that you provide, and who is it that you can help and why. What's the connection between all those things? The second do is about being visible. Okay, if you're the best at what you do, if you provide the best service, but no one knows about it, no one knows what it is, this thing that you do, what you offer to the world, then it doesn't really matter, right? So this is something that people really put off because, yeah, it's scary to be visible. I only started doing this kind of video content in January, so it's been about 7 months of me doing it, and it hasn't been easy, but I keep pushing forward with it. If people can get to know me in a live video, they can see who I am, if they resonate with what I stand for, if my message can help someone, then that makes this all worth it to me. And since doing these kind of live videos, I've received so many messages from people all over the world thanking me or saying, you know, I watched something in one of your videos and it happened to be this kind of synchronicity, or it really helped with something that they were thinking about, or it was something that they needed to hear, right, to do with what they were going through. How many of you can think of a time in your life where someone, you know, they said something and it just really struck something within you? It changed how you thought about something, or you're scrolling through, you know, Facebook or Instagram and someone makes a post and you're just like, oh, that's what I needed to hear or see today. So this is about what makes it worth it in connection with being visible. I don't want to keep the good information to myself, right? I don't want to keep lucid dreaming or lucid living, these practices, to myself. I want to share it with the world. So if you're passionate about something that you do, you have to have that want. You have to have that want to share it, to contribute it as well. I talked about this a little bit more in my previous episode, Biblical Breakthroughs, and how I thought it was incredible that in that 10 minutes or 9 minutes, 42 seconds, whatever it was, of the George Floyd video, how in just that 9 minutes, the entire world was shaken, right? It wasn't even 10 minutes long, this video, but it touched all of us in some way. And we all have phones in our pockets now, right? Everyone tuned into this has a phone in their pocket. So we all have these devices that we can share our message on. And perhaps you are someone who can share a video, share a message that can actually shake this world. How powerful is that? How powerful is that concept that we all have the means to be able to do that? So please don't underestimate the power of visibility, the power of showing yourself, the power of showing and sharing your message and growing as you're growing into this person that you want to become. Number three is all about being persistent. Apologies if it froze. So you're annoyed, it's not working immediately, you slow down, you get deflated by those short-term results, right? So you've got to take some time to keep the big picture in mind, right? Remind yourself of the long-term goals that will produce these massive results. I see this all the time in the lucid dreaming field. So the lucid dreaming is a skill that can be mastered. And some people, they'll induce a lucid dream on night one of trying, right? They just read about it, they're like, cool, I'll try it. They get lucid, they feel great. For other people, lucid dreaming is something that it takes years for them to properly master. And you see all the time people getting frustrated, they're trying techniques for a couple of weeks, and then they just give up. Because even though it's something that they know can completely transform their lives, it's not enough to keep going. And that makes no sense to me, because no one knows how long it's going to take for us to really succeed at what we're doing, right? No one knows how long it's going to take for each of us to grow into that person who has the success that we want. Yes, you can have a plan in place, but you have to implement it. You have to execute it, right? You have to get the results, and that takes persistence and that takes patience. So on to the don'ts, all right? Number one, and some of these are even more important to me along the way of this journey than the do's, I think. These are things that really get stuck with us. Unfortunately, us humans tend to focus on the negative, right? So number one of the don'ts is don't listen to anyone who isn't doing what you are doing or more, right? There's plenty of people who are going to tell you along the way or try and advise you with their opinions and with their feedback. But if these people don't have the results that you desire, then they're not actually solicited or really useful for giving you that advice. This oftentimes happens with family members, unfortunately. They likely want all the best for you, but unless they actually have that experience in running that business that you're doing or doing something in that same arena, that same area that you're trying to enter, then how are they going to give you the advice that you need for what you're pursuing? So listen to the people that actually have the results that you want. Number two of the don'ts is do not act from your impulse emotions. Have you ever had that time of having, a few too many drinks, then you get into this emotional mess, you've said things that you might regret. Or you've been in a group setting where you're all hyped up and really excited, you want to make big plans, big purchases, do something that you wouldn't usually do, and you're in that moment. But then the next day you're sitting there like, fuck, why did I buy that? Or why did I sign up to that, right? What was I thinking? You don't want this to happen when you're making an executive business decision. When you're in that place of fear or any kind of awkward, unstable emotional state, it's going to be more difficult to make a rational decision. Business decisions have to be strategic. They have to come from a place of knowledge. They should be based off numbers, results, research, analytics, any of those things. I've had people tell me things like, oh, I don't want to, price my program this high or dive into that because, one of my family members, a person who has no experience in that field, said that it's too high and that people are not going to pay me that kind of money. So it just makes no sense. They have no experience in that area. So please don't get drunk, right, off that emotion. Get sober, make rational decisions. And my advice, if you're not sure, is of course to sleep on it. Sleep is always the best. We talk about how sleep, it gives us that kind of emotional flush through in our mind where we can really think about it. We work through the problems, we work through our feelings, and the next day we wake up feeling a little bit more fresh with a little bit more peace of mind about what we're really feeling in tune with. There's always, or almost always, usually tomorrow. You almost always will have the chance to sleep on a decision. And number three of the don'ts is stop comparing yourself in a judgmental way. It's so easy, especially in this day and age with social media, to look at someone else achieving something that you're struggling with and start judging yourself, especially online. We have to be aware of this. We don't have the full picture, right? This kind of motion, it makes you feel deflated, just spirals us into this negative, I can't do it spiral. And I used to do this myself with coaches in this field when I first started out my coaching practice, right? I'd look at someone else who was launching a program with seemingly hundreds and hundreds of people start signing up, and I would start panicking. I'd start judging myself. I wasn't looking at the realistic things like how long had this person been coaching for, right? When I've been in the game for just 1 year, it wasn't helpful for me to compare myself against someone else who had been in the game for 10 years. So if someone's way ahead of you in the game, if they're way ahead of you in the business field that you want to go into or whatever professional field it is that you're looking at, look at them and let them inspire you. But please resist comparing yourself in a way that's simply unrealistic and unhelpful. Look at those people who are achieving, sure, but turn that comparison into a curiosity. Get curious about the ways that they're getting results, and then use this as inspiration, or even seek out advice from these people. People are often flattered, truly flattered, to be asked by someone else in the same field who wants to know more about what they're doing or how they got those results, right? They would love to help someone who's on that same path, sharing their same passions. So a quick recap of the do's is: do get lucid on who you are, what you provide, who you want to help, and why. And all those things are usually connected to your story, to your life journey. What was it that you did in your life where you know all about this area and you could really help other people who are maybe going through that as well? Second do is get visible and offer your unique self to the world, right? Share your passion, share your expertise. Don't keep it to yourself. Make it a contribution, right? Share this with other people who are likely going to feel passionate about it just like you do. And the third do is get persistent. So keep the bigger picture in mind. Keep those long-term goals in mind. Don't try and do something for one day or a couple of weeks and expect those immediate results. Stay persistent. Be patient. And along the way, some of those don'ts are, again, don't allow the people who don't have the results to influence you in the decisions that you're going to make, right? They're not in your field. If they're not in a higher up place than you in the field you want to go into, then they don't really have the expertise to offer you any solicited advice, right? And the second don't is don't act from that place of impulse emotions or let fear run the show. Who cares if your uncle or your aunt says like, oh, well, I think, you doing that, no one's going to be interested in that. Who cares about that? Don't let that scare you, right? Go from those places of results, numbers, analytics, stats, whatever it is that you're doing that shows you solid evidence that this is a good path for you to take. Make executive business decisions from that place of lucidity, rationality. And if you're not sure, simply sleep on it. Do not get caught up. This is the third don't. Again, do not get caught up in judging yourself, comparing yourself to someone else who's ahead of you in the game. Someone who's 10 years ahead of you, yeah, they're going to have better results than you have at your first year or half year in doing this thing. So turn that comparison into curiosity and open yourself up to inspiration. Now, if any of this or all of this is resonating with you, I have something for you that you might be interested in. So I'm planning out my second half of the year. And if you've been following me, you might have seen me mention a few things about my new 8-week online course called the Lucid Entrepreneur Lab. So if you are someone who is an aspiring entrepreneur or an aspiring business professional, or you're starting up in your business, or you're just someone who simply feels called to achieve more, but perhaps you're in this current place of uncertainty, adversity, burnout, or you're experiencing some kind of creative or emotional blockage. Or if you are someone who is just tired of the same old strategies of people saying, oh, look, you can just do this one thing, those programs that aren't even catered to your specific circumstances. Or if you are in need of a coach who has got the actual results themselves, someone who has tried and tested the material, if you're ready to work with someone who truly walks the walk and talks the talk, and if you would like to feel completely confident in knowing that the things that you work on daily are actually bringing you closer towards your goals, if you want to work with a high-performing lucid dreaming and lucid living coach who can get you towards your wildest dreams, beyond those, and direct you so that you can take your business or whatever it is that success looks like to you or feels like to you, then the Lucid Entrepreneur Lab has everything that you need all in one place. Okay, so this is going to be an 8-week program where you'll utilize lucid dreaming and lucid living techniques to transform your life, to break through business blockages, to create that life that you have been dreaming of, to restructure psychological systems in your sleep, You're going to receive mindset support, you're going to have step-by-step guidance, and you're going to have mentoring from me, a coach with 24 years of experience in this practice. I'm telling you now all this because I've created my dream business. I have featured in podcasts and interviews worldwide. I've received an award for my scientific research on lucid dreaming. I've presented at conferences across the globe. And I'm just passionate, so passionate about this program because I know how it feels to be stuck. I know how it feels to feel burnt out or uncertain about what it is that you're doing or what it is that you're trying to do. But I now know what it feels like to live lucidly, to live in that alignment, to feel that sense of abundance. And I am certain that everyone has the ability to turn their dream into a reality. So that's why I'm just obsessed with helping as many people as possible to achieve it. But this program is not for everyone. It takes hard work. But if you are someone who appreciates a personalized, fierce, no BS approach to coaching, then you will be someone who loves working with me. The waitlist for this program is currently open. We already have 19 people on the waitlist. You can only enter the program after you go through an application process, and you'll only get the application if you're on this waitlist. You do need to speak to me personally to be qualified for a place in this program. And the reason that I have an application process is because I can't help everybody, right? And this is going to be an exclusive program. We're only having 10 people in September, 10 people in October. It's going to be super intimate, and that's the only time that I'm running this program this year. So I don't know everyone who, is really ready to do the work, who's really ready to get the help. So that's why the application process helps me understand whether I'm the right person to help you and whether this program is in alignment with your goals and needs. The Lucid Entrepreneur Lab is going to launch for the first time in September 2020. I am so excited. And again, it is exclusive. Only 10 people for September, only 10 people for October. That's the only time you can enter the course this year. So if this is something that you are interested in just learning more about it, if you want more information about it, just drop me a message and we can get that conversation started. Or if you're like, I need to be in this, then head over to my website now. It's my name, it's lanasackwilde.com, and enter in your details into the Lucid Entrepreneur waitlist so that your name is on that waitlist and you can be one of the first people to receive information, one of the first people that will get one of those applications as soon as registration opens. And registration is opening tomorrow. So if you're not in that list, you got, a lot of people who you're going to try and compete with to get in. So thank you again, guys, for tuning into GLTV episode 7. I really hope you enjoyed the do's and the don'ts, the strategic tips and trainings from this episode. I hope you got a little bit more lucid about your personal life and your business ventures, and I look forward to speaking with you guys soon.